Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 84 of our WWE 2022 save and TEW 2020. This is almost Smackdown because we've got some breaking news. Before we get there, and the top story, and easily one of the top stories, maybe the top story of our save thus far, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon have officially come to a close as a married couple as they have divorced. Several months of legal proceedings and the toll it has taken on both parties. Little did we know, behind the scenes, all of this was happening. And now that throws in quite an interesting dynamic into our save moving forward. Is Stephanie going to allow us to push Triple H? All this other stuff, I don't really think that's actually going to happen, but I'm just pointing out some possibilities. Now, another question you guys are probably asking: has this stormy marriage caused Triple H to become unfocused in the ring in NXT? And perhaps he started to lose some matches as of late. Well, if you watch the State of WWE for January, you will know that even on Tuesday night, so the night before this became official, the NXT broadcast, if you're wondering if Triple H may have lost in that one, no, he did not. Triple H and Ciampa get the win over Dexter Lumis, Bronson Reed, bringing Triple H's all-time total here to 20 wins, 0 draws, and 0 losses. We will see if that changes moving forward, but a huge development news-wise for our save, so I wanted to make sure you guys saw that here and now. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Stephanie McMahon going to marry someone else? Who's Triple H going to marry? All kinds of questions that must be answered, but more questions will be answered in the next edition of SmackDown, and let's get right to that. All right, SmackDown pre-show. We start with terrible wrestling and a non-existent crowd. Heat apparently has Baron Corbin and Riddick Moss. Yes, I went there, guys. This is Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss, although we are in no way calling him Madcap Moss. Getting the win over the Viking Raiders here, 6:54. Moss gets the pin on Ivar. Viking Raiders, I know you guys know I've been up and down on them. I've never really gotten enthusiastic about the stories I put together with the Viking Raiders. So they lose here on the pre-show, and will I make these two a tag team moving forward? Well, I wanted to see if there was any chemistry there. Apparently there is not. Moss, as we know, if you're watching WWE in reality and where he is in our save, this guy's popularity is like a 30. Like, he's nowhere near anything that we've pushed thus far. But we do give him the pin here, so we're trying to maybe get him a little popularity, even though his in-ring performance is not great still at this point. So I don't think I'll keep these two together, even though I gave him the win here. I just, again, not really enthusiastic about doing that all over again. But we'll see. Anyways, 52 here for this one, as Corbin and Moss get the win on the pre-show. All right, into the main show, and we start with our new United States champion. Sorry to spoil that for anyone who did not watch Raw and episode number 83, because Sami Zayn is our new United States champion after pulling a shocking, stunning upset on Kevin Owens. No one ever thought that Zayn would be the one to challenge. He did, and now where are we? We are in Quebec. We are in Montreal here, and Sami Zayn is going to go out and celebrate his win in his hometown. So we have Zayn and The Miz coming out, all smiles. Everyone is thrilled. Zayn just sort of talks about how he's going to go out and celebrate here in Quebec. And once again, just like he said he was going to do, he proved the conspiracy that he's been talking about all along. There's so many of them in WWE. He found another, and he says he already knows there's going to be many more to come. But for now, we can all agree that he exposed a big conspiracy with Kevin Owens' U.S. title open challenge. And Zayn says, once again, just like I told you all, I would prove that I was better than John Cena. And just like John Cena held the United States Championship, I am now the United States Champion once again. And Miz and I, after his match tonight, we're going to go out and we're going to have some fun on the town here in Quebec. So a babyface promo, if you will, from Sami Zayn in his hometown here. 73 to start things off, and it's really just Zayn, gloating about this unbelievable, plan that he pulled off to become the United States champion. So there you go. There's your start for Sami Zayn on what could be a fun night for him in Quebec. We'll see how it turns out. 73 for this one. And then we go backstage, and once again, just kind of like we did in a recent episode, it's Paul Heyman catching up with Mick Foley and wanting to know, where is Seth Rollins? Just like last week, Heyman wanted some protection from Seth Rollins. As we remember, Rollins came out with Heyman and looked like he was about to pretty much curb stomp him, and that was going to be that. But Roman Reigns, with the threat, kind of adding in the Becky Lynch mention, that sends Seth Rollins reeling. And so Heyman wants to know, where is Rollins? Foley is like, I don't know where Rollins is. I don't even know if he's going to be here tonight. I haven't seen Seth Rollins. And so Heyman's like, you're lying to me. Where is Seth Rollins? He's like, you have to protect me. You're the GM of this show. Back when I was the GM, I protected people. And Heyman's just going on and on about wanting protection here from Seth Rollins. And finally, Foley's just like, Paul, I can't help you. You're on your own. And if Seth Rollins shows up tonight, it's not in my hands. So, given what's been done from your client, Roman Reigns. And Heyman once again says, Mick, I had nothing to do with it. Just like I told you last week, had nothing to do with this. And Heyman says, all right, fine. You won't protect me? I'll go to the people who will, because we have a State of the Bloodline meeting coming up here tonight. And so I'm going to go talk to the tribal chief to make sure everything's set for that. So Heyman, 85 here, great segment, but Heyman still wanting protection, and once again, still making it clear that he had nothing to do with Roman Reigns' attack on Becky Lynch at the Mae Young Classic. So, match-wise, the Usos, who do have that State of the Bloodline meeting coming up, they are going to start things off, and they get a win here over the Lucha House Party. Grand Metalik, Lince Dorado, Jey Uso, could have been either, right? Jay getting the pin on Lince. The Devil's Super Kick here does it, 61. Kind of a win here just to give the Usos a little match time, since, there have been a big storyline focus on them. But just kind of giving the Usos a win here to get them set up for that State of the Bloodline that we're going to have here coming up shortly. So 61 for this one. And then our general manager, Mick Foley, announces 2 big matches for the Royal Rumble, as we saw all hell broke loose last week on SmackDown, as it was Bianca Belair making her return to go after Raquel Gonzalez, given what happened in the Mae Young Classic there. Dakota Kai, Alexa Bliss, officials breaking them up in the back. It was chaos everywhere, and so Mick Foley sets 2 big matches on the women's side for the Royal Rumble. It's going to be Bianca Belair defending her SmackDown Women's Championship against Raquel Gonzalez, and it's also going to be in a grudge match here. Dakota Kai one-on-one with Alexa Bliss, and of course, some of these parties, minus the champion, will be involved in the Women's Royal Rumble, but they will have some matches before we get there. So that is noteworthy, as that is kind of your setup there. So 2 big matches announced. Oh, and by the way, Foley also announces, and they're going to team up. Next week, it's going to be Bianca Belair and Dakota Kai teaming up to take on Alexa Bliss and Raquel Gonzalez. So as you know, we've kind of set an interesting dynamic here. Not Dakota and Raquel, although, as we know, there's been a little tension there, but these two are still kind of not really knowing what we're getting from these two. But Belair going to team with Dakota Kai next week to take on Bliss and Raquel Gonzalez. So that should be very interesting. A big tag team match set for next week. So there's your participation for these 4 for the evening. I wanted to get them more on the show, but we got too much to get to. So they will be in a big match next week. Next week's going to be a pretty interesting show, as you'll see. We got some big matches coming. 65 for this one. All right, and then back on SmackDown is Sonya Deville, because she and Shayna Baszler are still the tag team champions. Sonya decides, though, to split away from the tag champions for tonight, because she's going to team with her new stablemate, her best friend, perhaps, outside of Shayna Baszler, and that is Sonya and Mandy getting the win here over Dana Brooke and Mia Yim, 6:49. Mandy Rose gets a submission on Dana Brooke. The problem was going to be, if I put Mandy in a singles match, well, she's still not to that overness, to where if I put her against Brooke, if I put her against Mia Yim, we probably would have gotten knocked, my guess, for the having people that the audience isn't interested in, because I think 40 or lower, just in terms of our popularity, that would have hit us, that would have given us quite a knock. So, and I think Mandy's like at a 42 overness, so I didn't want to risk it. So I decided to team Sonya and Mandy up here to get a win. So just, kind of nothing more than that. But it's going to be more about the post-match angle here as, 49 for this match. Not great at all. But we have to get Mandy some wins here, and we have to get her popularity up. So this was kind of the goal of that. But after the match, here comes Paige. Meanwhile, our tag team champions, Sonya and Shayna, are out there. Of course, Mandy's out there. Paige comes down to the ramp. DeVille and company just calling her into the ring. They've been waiting on this. All the teases we've had with the champs not be able to come over to SmackDown with Mandy Rose after she was traded. Well, here they are, and stronger than ever. All three of them standing in the ring, and they are just salivating, looking at Paige, thinking, here we are, 3-on-1. This is what we wanted. But Paige starts to walk down the ramp, and she stops. And then Paige takes her finger, and she points at Mandy. 1, Baszler. 2, DeVille. 3, and then Paige points back at herself. 1, and then she stops, and then she points on each side of her. 2, 3, and Paige says, next week. So Paige here hinting that she may have a couple people join her next week in this battle against Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Mandy Rose. Who will that be? Paige not, using her brain here, not going into a 3-on-1 situation, sort of setting up the tease that she was going to, but then hinting that she will have a couple people joining her, perhaps as allies next week on SmackDown. So we'll see what happens with that. 59 for this one. And then it is the New Day with Pat McAfee, and what a main event we've got set up. The New Day, who are trying to get back on track, as we know, after losing the tag team championships in that 3-way. They are going to team up to take on, oh boy, Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black in the main event. So New Day trying to get back on track. They got a win last week, and this is just Kofi and Xavier Woods saying, hey, we know to get our tag team championships back, we have to keep bringing it, and we know this is going to be one of the biggest challenges we've had, thus far in WWE, going up against Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black. We understand how difficult it's going to be, for us in this main event. And so, but they said, our goal has stayed the same. We know we got to keep winning because we want our tag team championships back, and we will be closely watching that match at the Royal Rumble between the Lucha Brothers and Enigma, Jeff Hardy and Ricochet. So a confident New Day here heading into what could be a buzzsaw in the main event with Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black. We'll see how it turns out. But that is our main event, 68 for this one. And then it is The Miz, who we kind of teased earlier. Sami said they were going to go out partying after Miz won his match, and well, he does. Is Miz and R-Truth, the former tag team duo there, decided to put these two together. I thought they maybe had some chemistry, but nonetheless, if we tagged them up, they probably would have some chemistry. We'll see if R-Truth joins Sami and Miz at some point. But Miz gets the win here. Skull-crushing finale does it. Just kind of giving The Miz, a little action, give him a nice win here. 62 for this one on that. So Miz gets the win, and the partying can officially get started for Sami Zayn and The Miz. And here it is, the state of the Bloodline. Roman Reigns sitting at his table, and in walks Jimmy and Jey Uso with Paul Heyman standing right beside Roman Reigns. And Reigns just very quiet. And he's just sitting there, continues to sit there, and Reigns just does not say a word. And that is when Heyman speaks up and says, we thought it would be a good idea for everyone to come together. We know there's been a lot that's happened over the past couple weeks, and we just want everyone to make sure we're on the same page here as to what we are trying to accomplish. And just as Paul Heyman starts to speak again, Jey Uso goes off. Jey Uso says, no, I'm not buying this, guys. Absolutely not. I'm done with you. I've said it to everybody else. You saw us say it recently. I'm done with you. You're going to go out and attack a woman? Really? That's what we've gotten to as the Bloodline. It's not just us out there beating our opponents in the ring. We're going out and attacking women now. And Jay's just going off. Like Jey is, you can tell, he's fired up. And Jey just continues to voice his frustration. And then Jey says the line that you will all want to remember. And Jey says, let's also make sure we all understand that, Roman, the only reason you're still the Universal Champion is because I saved your ass at Survivor Series from Seth Rollins. And Jey delivers that line, and he says, I'm out of here. You guys are on your own. If that's what we're doing now, I want no part of it. Jey walks on out the door, Jimmy Uso just standing there like he doesn't know what to do. And Roman Reigns just continues to sit stoically at his in his chair at the head of the table. And that is how we kind of cut away from this, with Jimmy Uso standing there having no idea what to do. Roman does not even respond to Jay in any way, shape, or form, just continues to sit there. Heyman's mouth is wide open. He doesn't know what to think. Great segment here. 93 for this one. Incredible. Jay and Jimmy continue to do pretty well, even though it says Jimmy underperformed. But, so, what happens next? We'll see. All right, Asuka getting the win over Peyton Royce. 7-11 here. Asuka Lock does it. And that's a good thing because we kind of hyped up Asuka being in action this week. She takes on Peyton Royce. We remember what Asuka did to Billie Kay whenever she had the singles match with her. Kind of held on the Asuka Lock after the match to Billie Kay. So she's still kind of out recovering from that. Takes on her tag team partner here, Peyton Royce. And what happens after the match? Well, you guessed it. Asuka once again holding on the Asuka Lock on Peyton Royce after the match. And she is just continuing. We've seen this streak from Asuka ever since really Survivor Series. Asuka has continued to kind of up the intensity a bit. And she holds the Asuka Lock here on Peyton Royce. The referees have to run in and try to break it up. So Asuka continuing this here. And, what does that mean for Asuka? What's going on right now? Why this happening now? We'll see, I suppose. 63 for this one. And then it is Sami Zayn and The Miz, who are backstage, and Sami still he's got his U.S. title with him. And by the way, we forgot to mention earlier, Sami also has a new button on his shirt, which we know he's been a big collector of the buttons here. And, he's got the one that says, I beat John Cena, which he did. He pinned John Cena at Survivor Series. We know this now. And Sami now has another one that says, I'm still better than John Cena. And then he's just, he's still pushing this John Cena thing. We don't even know why, but Sami just will not let it go. And so Sami and The Miz tell Mick Foley that they're off to party. They're getting ready. They're heading out the building. Foley stops them as they're going out the exit because Mick Foley is frustrated. And Sami's like, Mick, what are you frustrated by? I just brought the United States Championship to SmackDown. You've got more gold here. And that's when Foley says, because, Sami, you don't quite understand how this works. In the bylaws of the WWE, it is very clear in the bylaws of the brand split that if the United States Champion comes over to SmackDown, it's basically the superstar takes precedent, meaning that because you won the United States Championship, that means the title comes to SmackDown, but at the same time, that means that, in terms of this contractual language here, that the Intercontinental Champion must now go to Raw. And so Sami and Miz are like, great, what are you upset about? That means Keith Lee's out of here. That's good. We haven't liked him anyways. I think he needs to go to Raw. And Foley is just fuming here because he's saying, I don't think you get it, Sami. I've been working on this huge Intercontinental Championship match for the past week. I had a huge match lined up, but now we can't do it. And so Foley's very upset, but Sami says, sorry, Mick, you're the GM. That's on you. You'll have to figure that out. We're going to party in Quebec. So Sami and Miz just leave Foley here. So apparently, you heard it, the bylaws of the brand split. Yes, I know we're getting very technical here, but again, this is all part of the story. Because the United States Champion is now a SmackDown competitor, that means the belt comes to SmackDown with that competitor. Also means that the Intercontinental Championship must now revert to Raw. So, there you go. Not a trade or anything. It's just, this is what happens. So, Keith Lee, your Intercontinental Champion, will now be going to Raw. And what will that mean for Keith Lee moving forward? Boy, we've got some exciting stuff there for that. So, Sami and The Miz having a lot of fun, and they walk out the exit. Foley upset. This gets an 81. Everyone does their job here. And when Sami Zayn and The Miz walk out the door, well, they've got a couple people waiting on them, because as soon as Miz and Zayn exit the building, Kevin Owens and Johnny Gargano are waiting right there for them. And Sami's face just turns to complete surprise. And here comes Owen and Gargano going right after Zayn and Miz. And they are going at it in the parking lot. We've got a brawl here. And then this just continues to have the brawl. The officials are running out the door. We've had a lot of this on SmackDown recently. And the officials running out the door to break this up as Owens and Gargano never entered the building. They're Raw superstars, we suppose, but never entered the building. So a brawl on the outside, and that leads to Sami and Miz. As soon as the officials break it up, Sami, Miz, Maurice, who's already out there waiting on him with the car, they hop in the car and they speed out of there as Owens and Gargano do not get probably what they wanted out of this. So 76 for this one. A lot more to come with this storyline involving these four. And then it is Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura teaming up. So another kind of teams we're throwing together here. You guys had a lot of tag team action here on this episode of SmackDown. Probably one of our most tag team heavy episodes yet. Joe and Nakamura getting the win over Jinder Mahal and Apollo Crews, 653. What a fall for Apollo Crews, and I'm sorry for all the Crews fans out there. He was our Intercontinental Champion to start, I'll say, but he hasn't done a whole lot since losing that title to Keith Lee. But Joe submits Jinder. Coquina Clutch does it. Jinder is the weak link here. So 56 for this one. This is more about the post-match angle because after the match, it is, in a nice rating, 69. Samoa Joe grabs the mic, and what does he do? He challenges Shinsuke Nakamura to a match next week because Joe, as he's been saying for the last week we heard it, he said he's still out to prove his doubters wrong. He understands that he's at the tail end of his career here, but he wants one more run at the top. And he's going to do that by proving all of his doubters wrong. He's going to get there, and he wants to take on the best of the best. And boy, he's had some matches with Nakamura before. He wants to step back in the ring next week to see if both of us still got it. And so Joe challenges Nakamura. Nakamura accepts. So there's another match added to the card next week. That should be a good one. Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke Nakamura one-on-one. They're both involved in that triple threat match we had for the IC title, but haven't had a one-on-one match between these two. So that's set up for next week's edition of SmackDown. And then it is Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black, who are taking aim at not only the New Day, who are their opponents here on the main event, but also Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. As we know, a lot's been going on with that foursome there. And so this is just kind of your promo. These guys taking aim at the New Day, taking aim at McIntyre and Priest, and that is going to set up our main event here. 78. So these two kind of, the dark, all kinds of stuff like that. They just continue to use those themes and are going to take out McIntyre, Priest, and the New Day. So leading into our main event, here we go. Who will it be? New Day or Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black? And in a pretty decent main event here, 72. It is Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black getting the win over the New Day, 12-21. Bray Wyatt pins Xavier Woods with Sister Abigail. So this is the first time we've done this, isn't it? Yes. So Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black, excellent chemistry, teaming together. Maybe we had them team before. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'll have to look back at my notes. We may have actually had them team together recently, and I just honestly forgot. But at least they do have excellent chemistry, so that helps moving forward. You guys are probably thinking, wait a second, we've already established that, but I don't remember. I got 3 saves going on. You guys know this. So. But nonetheless, it is these two getting the win in a decent main event here, 72. But after the match, what happens? Well, there they are. As the same as we heard last week on SmackDown. We hear the audio last week. It was Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black laughing, and they did not appear at all. But this week, we hear Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest laughing over the audio system in the arena. But then the lights go out, and here they are. Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre appear behind Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black, and here we go. Another brawl takes place here on SmackDown. I know some people may say, well, it's kind of repetitive, right? But we've got a lot of stories we're tying together here, and we've got a lot of these kind of groups that we have that are kind of pairing off with each other. But, these guys haven't really gotten their hands on each other in this, fashion thus far. These guys start going at it, and it is Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest getting the upper hand here, sending Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black retreating. So what's next for this whole situation here? We will see. But yes, things will continue to pick up pretty quickly with what's going on with these four. So I'm pretty excited about where this is headed. But for now, it is McIntyre and Priest getting the upper hand on Bray Wyatt and Aleister Black. 84 for this one. And here comes Paul Heyman to close out SmackDown. Paul Heyman comes on out and he says, I'm making a risk here by coming out alone. I understand that, but, Roman Reigns has other stuff to deal with. But Seth, I'm leaving myself wide open here. I'm right out here for you. Come on out. And, we're led to believe this is Heyman trying to set up Rollins, right? To make Rollins come out. And, Heyman's just kind of over the top here as though bring Rollins out. And then, of course, we probably know what happens. Reigns comes out and attacks him, right? Like, that's how Heyman's setting this up. But then Heyman says, Seth, last week you put your hands on me, and I told you time and time again that I had nothing to do with Roman Reigns putting his hands on Becky Lynch. But then Paul says, well, Seth, but you know my reputation, and there's a lot of people out there that think I'm a liar. Well, I lied, because I absolutely had something to do with Roman Reigns laying his hands on the mother of your child. Heyman says, because everyone knows that anything Roman Reigns does, I am right there beside him, and that is what's most important, because we will do anything to protect the head of the table. We will do anything to protect the Universal Championship. That is my job, and that is what I do every single day, every week, every month. That's what I do, Seth. And so we knew that you would never figure it out. You would never think that we would go after the person that you love the most. Well, Seth, that's why you're not the one with the Universal Championship, and why Roman Reigns has now been the Universal Champion for 400 plus days. And then that's when Heyman says, but Seth, I want to leave you with this, because apparently you're not coming out here. Apparently you're still scared that we may be out there doing something with Becky Lynch. But Heyman says, I want to repeat what I said. I will do anything. Roman Reigns will do anything to keep the Universal Championship and to keep our power at the top of Smackdown. And that is when Heyman turns to the entranceway, 86 for this one, and out comes Roman Reigns, who is dragging a beaten Jey Uso down the ramp. I mean, dragging this guy who is just bloody, beaten. I mean, this guy is completely out of it. And Roman Reigns just tosses Jey into the ring like he's a piece of trash. And Reigns gets in the ring with a bloody Jey Uso. Blood just all over the mat here. Jey has been destroyed. And Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman stand over Jey Uso as we go off the air on SmackDown. So, wow. Heyman said they would do anything. Well, Jey Uso, who spoke out against Roman Reigns, has paid the price here on SmackDown. 97. Jey Uso involved in a 97 segment here. Fantastic. Woo, what an ending to SmackDown, and that is how we wrap up this edition of the show. Gets an 83 overall. Kind of some average stuff in between here, but the big segments delivered. The Bloodline stuff, the Usos, Sami stuff delivered. A lot of good stuff here. So we will take it. I was very pleased with this edition of SmackDown. Like I said, it sets up a big episode of SmackDown next week. I would definitely, be ready for that one, because we got some big matches and we got some big storyline development next week on SmackDown. Let's see what we get to before we wrap up this episode. All right, so SmackDown, positive show in Quebec as we in Canada for the second straight show there. Let's see if there's anything here we need to look at. Don't think so. All right, so this right here I've already looked at, and remember the tease I made on a top star in AEW. I don't want to oversell it, but a top-tier star, I still think, in AEW was available. And, folks, we made the signing because I think he's going to fit right into the story for one of our storylines, and it's just the perfect thing that makes the most sense. So, hey, we're the dominant company here. Come on over, AEW stars. Come on over to WWE. We have all the momentum right now. So I'm not going to show you that, but just know that that's on the way. All right, Chris Bay leaving Impact. He's on my short list. WWE complete the warming up phase after rising to big. So now eligible for any area battles, which we know who's going to win those. Reigns has an opinion. Alexa Bliss. Or wait, was that last week? No, this is this week. Okay. Alexa Bliss talks well. All right. Well, Roman wants more Alexa Bliss. Well, she's got a big match at the Rumble now. Maybe Roman wants her to win the Rumble. We'll see. But yeah, so I don't think Roman will be spearing Alexa Bliss anytime soon. Drug test fees, there you go. SmackDown 5.82. That has to be one of our highest shows, I think, thus far. Kairi Sane, who has been injured, we've kind of left her off recent shows. She's been an injury that she could work through, but we kind of left her off to heal. So she's fully recovered now, so we'll see her back soon. The divorce, as we said, it's official. Stephanie and Triple H have divorced. My biggest question is, who are they going to marry next? Like, what if Triple H he marries someone else in a month? What if he's marrying Linda McMahon? I don't know. Is that even possible? We'll see. But who marries Stephanie? Because they could all of a sudden have big power in this company. Your quickest way to the top here. Someone like, I don't know, whoever you guys think I'm underutilizing. Riddick Moss. Maybe he needs to step up to the plate here and see what can happen in the relationship with Stephanie McMahon. He'd get a little more time. So we'll see. Divorced. Also, Nikki Storm has given birth, so she's still out for a while, maternity leave. So she's, okay, so it's not as bad now. 3 months, 3 weeks. So there you go. That's someone we will have back in the mix, I guess at this point after WrestleMania. So giving you an update on her. So she'll be back soon enough. That'll be a nice addition to our women's division. So, all right, there you go. That was SmackDown. And as always, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And check out the AEW and WCW saves as well. Actually, big show coming up in AEW on the road to Fyter Fest, which will be kind of a special event, not necessarily a pay-per-view. And then also, WCW 1998 sold out. We are one episode away from that. So be sure to check out those saves. And on the next episode of this one, it will be Raw for January week 2. And we are fully on the march to the Royal Rumble and a lot of stuff to get to before we get there. So some big television shows that we'll have in the lead up to the Rumble because it's WrestleMania season and we are bringing out our best. So that is worth noting there. By the way, I'm going to be traveling this weekend, so next video may not go up until the first of next week. So just to kind of give you guys an idea, the next video, I don't remember what the rotation is. It may be AEW, maybe WCW, maybe Raw if the inspiration strikes. So we'll just to kind of give you guys an idea on that. So anyways, next episode of our WWE Save, it will be Raw for January week 1.